Social media, I could, as we just mentioned before, I could be sitting here until Bank Holiday Monday, which obviously we don't want to be doing. So I put together just some generic social media statistics with regards to using social media for business, and some tips I've just sort of drawn on the main channels I think most people use. I know a couple of you mentioned about Instagram, but you weren't sure about it, so I've included that as well. So just actually before I go into all the statistics, most of you I think know who I am, but if you don't know me, then my name's Elena Kale and I run a sort of full service marketing brand called Inspired Marketing Media. And I've been in marketing 26 years plus, now work with SMEs, helping them to make money through their marketing, predominantly through strategy, social media and video. I love social media. I do call it a beast because it can be positive and negative. But if you use it correctly, it can be the most cost-effective and effective way to promote your business. No question of that at all. So why use social media? I'm not going to go through every single line here because there is quite a lot of information in this presentation, which I thought was just of interest to you guys, or I hope it will be anyway. But that just shows you the amount of people that are on social media daily. You can see there how many of the millennial generation are on social media. Generation X are people in their 40s, 50s. And actually, I was even a bit surprised at this, that 48.2% of baby boomers, so those people born up to 1964, use social media. It's actually one of the fastest growing ages, if you like, or age sort of sections on who are using social media. So the older generation are becoming a bit more social media savvy. 81% of consumers use social media to research products, which is really, really key. Whether you sell products or services, if you're not on social media, you know, you are being the best kept secret, essentially. Omnipresence, where I said there about 8 social media accounts, that just means that, you know, you potentially, it's good to be on several platforms, but I'll come onto that a bit later. Referrals are massive on social media. People do buy from people they know as well. And the key thing, which a lot of people forget about, is social media is about building relationships. It's the know, like, and trust factors. And you can use social media to build that likability, build that trust, so that people that have never met you before get to know you. 63% of customers expect companies to offer customer service through social media. Depending on what it is that you do, then you need to be thinking about offering a customer service tool within your social media. I work with a client who is in leisure. Their customer service is 24/7, and their Facebook page is very much, it's a community, but it's very much about the voice of the customer and a customer service tool. I think the last point, number 9, is probably one of the key things that maybe you need to take away from today. I used to say it takes 7 touch points before a sale, and that means people need to see you or connect with you 7 times online before they will even really start to notice you and start talking to you and start making an inquiry. It's now gone to between 30 to 50 touch points and between 50 to 200 micro touch points. And by micro touch point, I mean a comment on a post or a like. But people need to see you between 30 to 50 times before they start to really engage with you. I don't mean engage in your post, but really think, oh, I actually want to work with this person. And that's really because of the amount of content that's now out there on social media and online in general. So it does take time. It's not a quick fix, get rich quick type, you know, scheme, if you like. People buy from people. People want to know who you are. They want to know who's behind the brand, especially for small businesses. It enables you to build an audience, a community. It enables you to build that credibility, to become that that go-to expert. You are the expert. People want to hear from you. They want to hear your knowledge and what you can do for them, essentially. And you do reach a far bigger audience. And I think what's really important is a lot of people will say, well, I'm really struggling to get engagement, or nobody interacts with me. People are always watching you, and it does differ on different channels. LinkedIn is, you don't get as much engagement. Twitter, you don't tend to get as much engagement, but people are always watching you. I've had clients on Twitter I didn't even know were following me, had never engaged with me, message me saying, I'd like you to do a marketing plan for me. It does work, but don't lose heart if you're not getting engagement straight away. It does take time. Consistency is key. You're going to hear me repeating a few things during this presentation, and consistency is one of them. There is no point in going hell for leather and hammering out content on social media for a month or 2 months and then going, hasn't worked, and give up. It takes time. It can take about a year to build a really thriving audience. That's not to say you won't get inquiries and sales in the meantime. Of course you will, but it just takes that time to build up. And obviously in the last few weeks and months with COVID-19, we've been at home more, we've been online a lot more, and social media now is probably even more relevant for marketing than it was before. Networking, trust, build relationships. It's not a cold, hard sales pitch. That's not what social media is about. Yes, it's an indirect way to sell, but people will buy from you if they like you, trust you, and feel that you can benefit them. So, but it's also important to include a call to action. I was on a Zoom call earlier on this week where other business owners were almost reticent about actually asking for a sale, or they were reticent about asking for something to, for their audience to do something, i.e. click on this or buy this or whatever. It's important to do that because people need to be directed. We are bombarded by content all the time, so you need to make sure you're directing your audience to do what you want them to do. I kept number point 3 in. It's from a different presentation I did, but a few years ago, you would never have had large brands ask their employees to leverage the brand's social media. They were always scared to allow their employees to get involved in their brand social media in case they said something out of turn or whatever. But you can see there how important it is in terms of reach and content when employees do engage. And the reason I've left that on there is because I often share my business content on my personal page, for example, on Facebook. Don't be afraid to do that, because you will probably have a lot more friends and followers on your personal pages, and there are times when it's relevant and good practice to share something on your personal page, and you do get much more engagement and much bigger reach, and it can generate people to actually then move into your business page. Hope that makes sense. Absolutely show your personality. Those of you who know me well hear me talking about video. 85% of online content now is video, so getting on camera is absolutely key to showing your personality and allowing people to get to know you. And social media is about being social. I talked about professional versus personal. That's what I was saying before about you can use your personal pages to support your professional pages, but it is about being social. If you're just thinking I can go and just do a post maybe 3 times a week and that's it, it's going to take you a lot longer to get results. If you proactively go into the platforms that you choose to be on and you comment, you like, you follow, you share, you retweet, you are going to get a much faster results, because people will feel that you are talking to them and actually being a friend rather than just a name on a social account. Before you do anything, and again, those of you who know me well will have heard me say this before, identify your ideal client. You have to understand who is your target audience, who do you want to work with, not just who pays the bills, but who you want to work with. Because until you've identified who they are and where they are and which social media platforms that they use, then you need to create your strategy from there. Otherwise, you're just guessing. You're scattergunning content on different platforms, hoping some of it will stick. Some of it will stick, but again, you're going to take longer to get the results that you want. You don't have to be on every single social media channel. It will be overwhelming if you try to do all of them, and there are a lot of them, trust me, I know. So you need to be putting content out on the right channels, where your audience are, on what type of content they want to see, and you can do that from profiling your ideal client. That's another topic and another subject. I'm not going to sort of go through that today, but that's the key thing to do before you really look at any social media strategy. And again, consistency. You need to be showing up every day, ideally. There are some platforms you can get away with, maybe not every single day, but it is about commitment. Okay, so I'm now going to go through different channels, and I apologise if some of you guys may have already heard some of these stats or know a bit more about some channels or others, but I've just literally gone through and sort of talked about why you should use some of the platforms and then some tips. So LinkedIn, you can see there how many active monthly users there are. 61 million senior level influencers, 40 million decision makers use LinkedIn. If your ideal client is a corporate, you want to target the corporate world and business people, you need to be on LinkedIn. Bear in mind that every consumer works. So it doesn't necessarily mean to say that if you're B2C, so business to consumer, you think, well, actually LinkedIn is just for business to business. It isn't. People who work are on LinkedIn. You can see there 75% of the working population in the UK have a LinkedIn account. So it's important not to bear that in mind and not dismiss LinkedIn as just, oh, that's business, it's corporate. I'm not in the corporate world. It's not for me. It is responsible for 80% of business to business leads. It is a great lead generation tool if it's used properly. Interestingly, 43% of all LinkedIn users are women. So it is slightly more male dominated. But actually, there's quite a sort of fairly good proportion of women using it as well. And LinkedIn video campaigns are 50% view rates. I put a post out this week for a client, which is a video, a short video clip promoting a conference they're doing. There were 23 views, I think, on Facebook, 620 views on LinkedIn. So it's a good platform if you've got the right client, you know where your client is. You can really hone in, and video absolutely works on LinkedIn. And I put point 8 in terms of face your fear, because a lot of business owners I talk to find LinkedIn a little bit fearful. It's almost like I don't quite know what to post. They don't think that, oh, am I corporate enough? Am I professionally enough? Are people going to want to read what I'm sort of all about and what I can say? Absolutely they do. You're the expert. People do want to hear from you. It isn't Facebook. So, don't post pictures of your kids, but it's, just go for it, essentially. Face your fear and go for it. And because it is a really good tool, but you won't get engagement straight away. It takes a lot of time to build up engagement on LinkedIn. So some tips on LinkedIn: always use a personal page. If you want to have a company page, fine, set one up. I don't have one. I think if you're a small business owner, just a 1 or 2 man band type thing, then you don't need it. But if you are linked to a franchise or linked to another brand, then do definitely link yourself in with that company name. The company pages on LinkedIn are very restricted. You can't follow people, you can't follow groups, you can't post articles. You can link to your website. And really what I do with clients is I will post on the company page various articles, blogs, etc., and then I would always encourage employees to share that on their own personal pages to boost the reach. Always use a professional headshot, or if you can't, if you're not able to get a professional headshot, obviously speak to Sammy. Then just use a headshot just of you, not with your kids, not with a glass of wine in your hand. Dress professionally. I know it sounds obvious, but trust me, I've seen some really bad photos in my time. But never ever leave it blank. People need to see what you look like and who you are. The picture on the top right is the picture that I use. I was fortunate, I was at a meeting and there was a professional photographer there who took that, happened to just take it and to let me use it. But it shows a bit of my personality, shows my smile, shows hopefully that I'm approachable, and you want to try and get that feel for your profile picture. And I use that across all of my professional social media platforms, so it's consistent. Your profile should not be a CV. A lot of people do this. They just lift parts from their CV and put it into their profile. If you are a business owner, it's always about what's in it for your ideal client, what's in it for them. How can you help them? So, for example, I was working with a client recently who is in financial services and was targeting NHS professionals. So I said, right, change your biography, top few lines, because that's what people see when they look at, there's a section in LinkedIn called Who Do You Know? You just see the first couple of lines. So I said, right, change your profile from I'm a financial advisor doing blah, 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 to helping NHS professionals save money and pay less tax. Bam. It's getting a really clear message across straight away of who you're looking for, who you want to work with, and what can you do for them. And that's what will make people stop and look at your profile. So have a look at your LinkedIn profile and make sure that that top line resonates with your ideal client. Respond to happy birthdays. You trigger on notifications on LinkedIn. You get told when someone's birthday is, and also if they change jobs or change roles. Just go in and respond. The LinkedIn actually give you happy birthday, give you actual little tags that you can just click on. It's really simple. If you do that, say first thing in the morning, it's being social. And I actually had a lead, or had an inquiry, sorry, from a birthday. I just went on, wished someone happy birthday, and they came back to me, checked out my profile and said, actually, thanks very much. Can I talk to you about an event? It's simple. When you connect to people, you don't need a message. Sometimes people think, if I want to go and connect to people, do I need to send them a message? I don't personally. If people do question it, which they very rarely do, then I'll just go back and say, actually, I'm interested in just seeing your content. We work in a similar field, or whatever it is. Some LinkedIn gurus will tell you to go in and connect with loads and loads of people every single day. Just be very, very careful. There used to be this sort of feeling that you should go and connect to 50 people each day. I would really sort of advise against that, because LinkedIn will start seeing that as spamming. Because GDPR doesn't cover social media, LinkedIn is one of the few lead generation tools that marketeers can use, sometimes badly, but LinkedIn are much more aware now if you're starting to spam people. So if you want to connect to people, if you're doing a certain campaign or you want to connect with a certain audience, just do it bit by bit. Go in and search the people you want to connect with, and maybe do 10 a day or something along those lines. Otherwise, LinkedIn will suspend your account. You'll get it back, but it's just hassle you don't need. Personalization. Please, please, if you're going to connect with people and send them a message, personalize it, read their profile. I know it sounds really obvious. I'm sure none of you would not do that, but I'm sure you do as well, if you're on LinkedIn, an awful lot of automated messages. You connect somebody, you get the sales pitch. It's just not the way to do it. It's about building relationships. You wouldn't go up to a stranger in a coffee shop and start telling them all about your business. You just wouldn't do it. Well, hopefully you wouldn't do it anyway. But people do it online. So it's really important to read the profile, connect with somebody, and if you're going to send them a message, personalize it, say why you're trying to connect to them, what you can do for them, and how they can benefit from working with you. It's a sort of simple process. There are automated tools if you want to use them for lead generation for LinkedIn. I think one is called Lead Connect, and the other one is Sales Navigator, which is about £70 a month, I think. They are automated tools. So you go in, you put in your search keywords for industries, sectors, demographics, whatever it is that you're looking for. Once you set up those keywords, it will automatically go through at a certain time each day and connect with those people and send them an automated message. What a lot of people do is they don't read your profile, and I get messages saying, oh, hi, Elena, wondering who at self-employed does XYZ, and I just switch off completely. It's an automated message, not interested. So just be very aware, if you want to use automated tools, please set them up, properly. Use hashtags, mix up your content. Again, LinkedIn will give you some hashtag examples for every single post that you write. It will look at your the words and actually pick out the relevant hashtags for you. Content on LinkedIn, remember, it is business, so blog posts. You can use inspirational, like motivational quotes, but it isn't Facebook, so just be wary of that. Use imagery, use video, but again, it's all professional. It's all about your work. You can link it to a degree of lifestyle, but imagine, if you were in a networking meeting, for example, we were face-to-face having a chat, use kind of lifestyle sort of conversations, if you like, have a conversational piece, but remember this is about business. And LinkedIn have a huge amount of groups. So if you want to, again, target a certain sector of the audience, find some LinkedIn groups, join them and have conversations, be social, answer questions, give value. People will start to get to know you. You'll start getting more connections and you start getting more leads. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Okay, Twitter. Some people love Twitter, some people hate Twitter. It's got a huge amount of users, 145 million active daily users, 13.7 in the UK. I think Twitter is probably the fastest moving platform in terms of content. A tweet lasts 17 minutes, which is not a lot. And when I say it lasts 17 minutes, I'm talking about when you're using your phone, you're just scrolling through your Twitter account, you forget, you see a tweet, you might engage with it, and then you move on. So that's why you see a lot of bigger accounts will repost and repeat an awful lot of tweets because they can get away with it. It's not seen as being duplication. 85% small, medium businesses do use Twitter to provide customer service. It is renowned, and I do use Twitter in this way. If you want to complain, if you want to get to a brand and get a quick response, complain on Twitter. It does work. But obviously it isn't just for complaints either. It is the preferred social network for news consumption, and again in the last few months that's really been noticeable. I'll be honest with you, Twitter is probably one of the toughest platforms. It's very, very direct. There's a lot of negativity on there. You do have to wade through it. People are very comfortable with giving very direct opinions on Twitter. So I would always say to anybody, if you want to get on Twitter, really look at why you want to be on Twitter and what you're going to use it for and what you want to get out of it, because it can suck you in a little bit, especially stuff that I'm still seeing now. It's very political. So yeah, just bear that in mind. But it's still a very good platform. And if you want to work with the media, I would absolutely say get yourself on Twitter. But like the 0.9 there, 6 out of 10 users expect a brand to respond within 1 hour. So again, you've got to be sure that you can actually respond. You've got the resources to respond that quickly. I said before about PR. The traditional forms of PR, like ringing up a journalist and pitching a press release or pitching a press idea or article idea, it still happens, but it's kind of old hat now. It's all done online. There's 3 hashtags I've put up there, which I've used with good success in the last year to 2 years. And, so if you're looking to pitch an idea to a publication, or you're looking to work with bloggers, for example, if you just put your tweet together and use those hashtags, then that's a really good way to start getting feedback and start generating those relationships. It's great for following your competitors or stalking your competitors, finding out what other people in your industry are talking about, what content they're putting out, so you can see what's working, what's not working. And it's great for insights. You can see what's trending. You can see what topics people are talking about, so you can use it as a resource for content. If can't think of an idea for a blog article, for example, it's often worth looking at Twitter and seeing what are people talking about and how then you can tweak that to suit your business. But again, it's about being social. Twitter is a lot of egos. It's a lot of retweets, likes, comments. If you do a lot of blogging, it's probably worth getting on Twitter. Same biography rules apply. Who is it you're looking to help? Always use a good headshot, cover photo. I don't think any of you are currently on at the moment, if you work in the financial services or anything which is a bit more compliant, do state that views are your own in your biography, so there's no sort of any complications with brands or whatever. Use search tools to find people you want to follow and create lists. It's very easy. You can create a list. So if you wanted to, I don't know, look at photography publications, for example, you would go and search out those people, those journalists that work within that niche, the publications in that niche. You create a list and add those people into that list. Those people will see that you've added them, but they won't necessarily see everybody else. So just bear that in mind. So, but in terms of the name of the list that you want to call it. But lists are a great way to keep following. You're segmenting those accounts, if you like. And if you keep going in and following what people are talking about, you can retweet, share, comment. You're starting to build up that relationship with that journalist or blogger publication. So when you do want to pitch, it's not cold. They're starting to sort of see your name come through. Use up to 3 hashtags. Don't use any more than that. It just gets too difficult to read it through. Use those that are trending. You will see on either if you're using the app or if you're using on your PC, you'll see which ones are trending on that day. Do use some of those and use some not so popular ones as well. But as I said there, people do troll on Twitter. It says more about them than it does about you, but it is a commitment. If you don't need it, don't go on it. Simple as that. Instagram. 10 years old. I didn't actually realise that. 10 years old this year. Over 1 billion users monthly. A lot more hashtags on this one. It's essentially, Instagram is a visual platform. It's about imagery, video. It's showing who you are, your products, your services, what you do. It's a slightly younger customer age, a sort of user group, if you like. So the biggest users are aged 18 to 34, about 71%. So bear that in mind when you're looking at your ideal client. In saying that, I'm 48, I'm on Instagram, and I do use it for business. So that's only a guide. But 71% of businesses use Instagram. 500 million accounts use stories. And let me just quickly call up Instagram on my phone if you're not familiar with stories. Okay, hopefully you can see that. At the top of your Instagram, you've got little circles there. And what a lot of people do is they'll just scroll across here and just look at people's stories. So it's a good way to increase your reach and increase your well, just your presence really by using stories. They last 24 hours. So you can put a photo up there, add graphics to it, add text to it. But it's very, very visual, and it's really kind of about what you're doing that day, what you're doing that week. It's quite time sensitive. But it does, Instagram helps 80% of Instagrammers to buy products or services. You've probably heard the term influencer. There's a lot of influencers on Instagram. There's an awful lot of bloggers on Instagram as well. Be a little bit wary of influencer accounts. Many of them started, a few years ago when it was okay to buy followers. Instagram are really cutting down on that now. You can still buy followers if you want to. I would never ever advise that at all, because you don't know if they're fake or not. And if you get messages from people saying they can help you grow your Instagram account, in a week or something, they will put a bot on your account and Instagram will suspend your account. So just be very, very wary. The only way to really grow any social media platform is organically or advertising, and do it yourself through consistent content. Do be a bit bold. Like I said, there's a huge amount of content out there, so don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be creative with your images. Maybe invest in a design program like Canva, or look at photo editing apps on your phone. Just stand out a little bit more, but always bear in mind, be on brand. You can use up to 30 hashtags per post. What a hashtag is, it's like a keyword search term, a bit like an SEO keyword. So people will go in search for certain hashtags. You can buy, I'm just going to grab a book that I've got here, which I bought actually, I don't know if you can see that. I bought that recently. It's quite useful. It lists a whole range of different hashtags, but you can get it online as well. And it is about doing your research. It's about looking at what's trending in your industry, looking at what people are talking about in your industry. But do use a combination of popular ones and those that have got much less interaction, because the ones with less interaction, you're more likely to have your posts seen quicker than if you use a hashtag that's got millions and millions of interactions. So do use a combination, especially if you've got less than 10,000 followers in your account. I started using that with a client about a year ago, and you do see a big difference. So make sure that you do sort of mix it up quite well. I think it was about a year ago, Instagram, who's owned by Facebook, had a massive algorithm change, and virtually overnight we saw engagement just drop off the cliff. They are, like I said, owned by Facebook. Bear in mind, this is a business, they want you to advertise. So it is harder to get organic reach. It's not impossible. It does, you can still get organic reach without promoting and spending money on advertising, but they just made it a lot harder, as they do. Before you post, little tip here, number 5, before you post, if you work out what hashtags you're going to use, go into the search tool and put them in, and then engage with posts that use those hashtags. That will help people to see that you're online, that you're engaging with that hashtag. And then when you post using that hashtag, you're more likely to get people finding your posts. Just a little tip, which I've started doing recently. And it does work as well. Also go in and maybe connect with or engage with people that you want to engage with your posts. So for example, ideal clients, go onto their grid, make some comments, engage some of their posts, then you post. They're more likely to engage with that post that you just put up there. Again, it's about being social. You can't hyperlink apart from your biography. So for example, if you're putting a link to an article, it won't work in Instagram. You need to take out a quote from that article, for example, and post it as an image. Always reply to comments. If you do want to become an influencer, you want to really go for it and build your Instagram following, brands will start to notice you from a commercial perspective from about 10,000 followers and above. I'm not there yet either. not yet anyway. And then a brand new thing that Instagram have launched, I think about 2 weeks ago, is Instagram Reels. That's their answer to TikTok. It's a 15-second video. You take it in the app, and you can then apply graphics, you can apply effects and text. And again, they don't last a huge amount of time, I don't think, but it's 15 seconds. So that's their challenge to TikTok. You've also got Instagram TV, which is 15 minutes. So if you do have a video which goes over the 60 seconds on your grid, because you can only put a minute of video content on the actual grid, then you can use IGTV. You're probably really confused about all this by now, but anyway, please put any questions in the chat room. So Facebook is still the biggest platform. People said about, I don't know, a year, 2 years ago, Facebook's, it's past now, it's boring, it's not, the youngsters aren't using it. Well, you're probably like me, youngsters don't pay my bills. So it's important to, again, look at your ideal client, but it is still the most used social media platform globally. Demographics slightly higher, 25 to 34 years of age, but as I mentioned earlier, 65-year plus group are growing. It's the biggest increase in users on Facebook and in social media in general. Interestingly, there, 74% of Facebook users are high income earners. So that's something to bear in mind from a business perspective. You can also put stories on Facebook as well, works very similar to Instagram, 24 hours. And again, you've got those little circles on the top of your Facebook page, and people will scroll, and you also get the sort of a clip of the story if you're using on your PC. So again, it helps people to hone in on your page, gets your reach out there a bit more, gets you in front of different people. So do use those. I just put down there about Facebook ad revenue. If you do want to do social media advertising, Facebook can be one of the most cost-effective platforms to do it. That obviously is in dollars there, 1.72. Cost per click is basically how much it costs to get someone to click on your advert, or which then clicks onto your website, if that makes sense. You need to think about how you're setting up your Facebook advert. So £1.72 is the average cost per click. So that's how much it can cost to get a lead. So, if you're thinking about print advertising or radio advertising, which are much, much more expensive, and you can't measure it in the same way, it's a really good way to think about advertising. Facebook Lives are really well worth doing. Facebook algorithms love them. It does generate high engagement. You get interaction with people. A lot of people are terrified about going live and thinking, oh God, what if I make a mistake? I fluff my lines. Practice, practice, practice. Just get in front of a camera and get used to it. But actually, don't worry if you make a mistake, because actually that's you, and that makes you more real. But it does really help. Facebook like it. Some people ask me, is it worth having a business page and a group? Business pages is in a sense, it's your kind of shop front, if you like. Your group is where you build your community. People are more likely to talk to you and be more open to you in a Facebook group. And because, like on Instagram, about 2 years ago at least, I think now Facebook changed, another massive change to their algorithm. They want businesses, to pay for advertising. So the organic reach is not as great as it used to be. So groups kind of came into their own after that, and it is a really good way to build a great audience. I will say on any social media platform, you can have an amazingly engaged group. You could have a group of 1,000 people on there. At any point, Facebook could go, we're closing, and you've lost all those people. So make sure that as part of your marketing, overall marketing activity, the people on your Facebook group are also on your email list, because should Facebook go down, you can't sell. You've got no community. So do bear that in mind. Social media is part of your marketing activity. It's not your only marketing activity. Be easy to find. On my personal Facebook page, at the top of my biography, I've got a link to my Facebook group. It's a really simple thing to do, but just make sure it's really easy to find your business pages or your Facebook groups. People haven't got time, they're lazy, their attention span is tiny. They need to see it in their face. Oh, click on that, bam, easy. Using other Facebook groups is one of the fastest ways to actually build your business. I know there was a lady I talked to a couple of years ago now who does websites, and she grew her business through interacting with Facebook groups. Join the groups that are relevant to your business, and just spend maybe 20 minutes a day just scout through those groups, make sure you put the notifications on, and just see what people are asking for. And if you can help them or answer a question, do so, give value, and people will start recognizing you, following you, and when they go onto your personal profile, they'll see your group. So it's called leaving breadcrumbs, and it does work. I promise you it does work. If you're going to advertise, don't boost unless you just want an awareness, just want to, I don't know, if you're doing just creating brand awareness, maybe boost, but always use Facebook Ads Manager. That again is another presentation in itself, but you can target your audience much, much more securely using Ads Manager. Never add people to groups without permission. A lot of people are still doing this. Again, it's building relationships, and don't add someone or don't connect with someone and then send them, hi, would you like to join my team? I'm sure you guys wouldn't do that, but it's still happening a lot, and people are being trained to do that badly. So this is about building relationships, nurture your audience, give value, give of yourself to get back. The notifications on groups, Facebook 2 weeks ago, I think it was, turned off all notifications on groups. I don't know why. So if you do run a group, make sure you put a post on to ask people to go up to their notifications and click on show all, because otherwise people won't know it. People are following you in your group won't know, but they won't be seeing anywhere near the number of posts that they were seeing before. So make sure you do that post as soon as possible. That's what I mean. Facebook can just do, they will do what they want to do. Go live, get on camera, like I mentioned, use personal page, talked about that before. If you are scheduling posts, and you probably need to keep yourself from being overwhelmed, you can use third-party scheduling software. I use Hootsuite, or there's Buffer, there's loads of them. But Facebook's algorithms like you to schedule posts from within Facebook. Facebook is changing. There's a new Facebook layout. You've probably seen it. I'm getting used to it. But they've created this thing called Content Creator. I don't like it at the moment, I'll be honest with you. It's clunky, it's glitchy, it keeps crashing. Hopefully they'll fix it before the old Facebook disappears at the end of September, I think it is. But we're all moving into this new Facebook format. But do schedule your posts within Facebook to get the best reach you can. I think this is the last one. So Pinterest, I love Pinterest. I only really started using it last year for business, and I just love it. A lot of people don't really know Pinterest is there, what it's used for, so I thought I'd put it in. It's growing. I mean, I did have a conversation with, because there's a big office in Dublin, I think it is, in Ireland for Pinterest, and they are really focusing at challenging Facebook and challenging Twitter. And looking at some serious growth. So they're looking at people that advertise on social media, hence they contacted me. 71% of users are female. It started off as a bit of an online scrapbook, and that's what we need to sort of bear in mind. People do go to Pinterest for knowledge, but you can see there just on those stats about people use it to make purchases, to make decisions on what to buy. Big statistic there, sorry, 52% use it to develop knowledge of food and health. So Louise, for example, for your food, your protein shakes and your different nutrition, it could be a good platform for you to consider. 47% going to actually shop. I've made purchases from Pinterest, so I know I'm one of those 47%, sorry. Pinterest is starting to be used by marketers. So 28% of global marketers are now using Pinterest. It's starting to be seen as a good tool to use for your business. And you can see why there from the stats. People do use it as a resource to make decisions to buy, and that's for services as well as products. Do use a business account. If you've got a personal account, you can switch it. It's very easy to do, but you can then monitor statistics. And there is a statistic on your business account to show your followers. It shows all your pins, etc., and how many people are engaging with them. But there's also a statistic, can't ever say that word properly, to show how many unique monthly viewers you get. It's a bit of a vanity figure. I got up to 1.3 million at one point last year, and you think, oh my God, that's huge. But at the end of the day, it's what's coming through to your website, what's coming through to your sales. But it is a good way of seeing how many people are actually looking at your account each month. At the moment, I think I'm up to about 73,000 per month. And actually I've really, even though my website is being developed, so I've got a holding site at the moment, it's still got good information on there. So I've been really using that to drive people to the website, and the amount of clicks has gone shooting up. So it's worth looking at your strategy for Pinterest to drive people through to either a blog or a website. If you are blogging, you need to be on Pinterest. It's renowned for being one of the best sources of traffic to your blog. And there's loads and loads of resources on Pinterest for bloggers. Be creative, use infographics, get used to using something like Canva. If you want to go into Photoshop or InDesign, go for it, but Canva is really easy to use. Give advice, give knowledge. It's not just a question of putting a photo up there with a quote. Yes, they are very popular, but it's all mix that up with a little bit more of a sort of more detailed post. So you're giving value again. It used to have stories. They took that down recently. I don't know whether they're going to bring it back up again, but that was a massive awareness driver. And keep repinning from other boards. That's how I built mine up, was just posting my own content, but also repinning from different boards. And my boards on my Pinterest account are personal as well as business. So it shows people a bit more about my personality through my interests. But you do need to pin a lot. So again, it's a commitment, probably minimum daily. If you talk to Pinterest experts, they will probably say 3 or 4 times a day. So it is commitment, and it's a question of monitoring your stats in terms of your analytics and seeing what's working and what's not working. But it is a fast-growing platform, so it's well worth considering. I think this is the last one slide. You can repurpose content, and actually you need to, because there are times we're all busy and we all can't think, God, what am I going to write about? What content am I going to put out there? A lot of people also ask, is it okay to use the same content on Facebook as it is for Instagram or Twitter? I would say yes, and I do, but do think about your audience on each platform. Think about your hashtags. Don't automatically share posts. So if you create something in Facebook or Instagram, for example, don't link it to your Facebook, because you're going to end up with a whole list of hashtags on your Facebook account, which doesn't look good, and Facebook don't like it. So do schedule separately, but edit, just tweak it. You've only got 280 characters in Twitter, remember, so you're going to have to reduce that. So I would say yes, do repurpose your content. You are going to have different audiences on different platforms and different sizes of audience. The only time I would say don't share the same content is in your Facebook group. Your Facebook group should be much more personal, much more focused on that group. So don't share that type of content necessarily on your public business pages. Remember, attention spans are minute. You have 3 seconds to hook someone in if you're looking at video or photo, anything really, especially on that's pretty much on any social media platform, and 3 seconds is not a lot. So really do bear that in mind. Do add subtitles to video, but do be careful what software you use. I put a video out recently on my pages, and obviously we're fortunate, we do have editing software here. Jeremy actually typed everything in, and he programmed it all in, because we ran it through an automated software program, and trust me, it didn't come back with what I'd said. So do be careful. And then look at your content, look at blog articles. If you've got a blog article and let's say it's 5 paragraphs, that could be 5 social media posts. So repurpose it, look at your previous designs, tweak them. And if you have older videos that you've put out maybe 6 months to a year ago, edit them, put a new intro on, create an intro through motion graphics, or ask someone who can do it to do it for you, and repurpose it. Because if something was out there 6 months ago, 12 months ago, you can repurpose it now, because you can see how quick content moves on social media. So do use previous content that you've got. Okay, if you're all not completely lost and confused by now, obviously social media can be overwhelming. I work on it all the time. That's what I do partly for a living. So I do get, it's overwhelming. I do get people go, I don't know where to start, I'm not sure what I'm doing. So if you would benefit from coaching, we do online coaching for both social media and video. Scope and call, first of all, you then get your online Zoom coaching. And then after that, we either give you recommendations based on our conversation, Or if it's video, then we ask you to do a little video and we will come and review that for you and give you extra hints and tips. That's £99. I'm starting a weekly email from September, which is going to have free marketing and video tips. So if you'd like to be involved in that, just drop your email address in the chat. And our Facebook group, Inspired Marketing Lounge, I go on every day. You've got access to both myself and my colleague Jeremy, who leads up the video side. Ask us anything you want, but again, it's free tips on content and marketing and video. And we can actually also help you edit previous videos that you've already created and put personalized soundtracks on there, which my colleague writes them, so there's no license fees. And that's it. Whew. I hope that's helped. There's a lot of information. But yeah, any questions? I'll